talking about.
Well, yours was something really pretentious, and I don't approve of it. I was like, someone's got money.
You know, you could throw a curveball. Actually, wait. Okay, Chase, what's your favorite food? Is it more exotic than pizza?
It is.
Okay.
It is. I love. It's called lechuna, which is.
There you go.
A Colombian local dish.
Boo!
It's rice
Pretentious.
cooked under pigskin.
It's what?
Rice cooked and baked under pigskin, and then you eat it with it.
That is your favorite food?
Yeah, it's really freaking good.
You probably just destroy the bathroom.
But I mean, it does sound more exotic than pizza. Jokes aside, though, you guys are here to talk a little bit about. So you run a YouTube channel.
I just wanted you to do my voicemail. That's it. That's all this is.
Should we do that? Have you got your
that
phone?
would be
I'll do it right
great.
now.
Yeah.
A shameless plug for your voicemail?
At the end of it, yeah, why not?
Sure.
I mean, that's a service I'm willing to provide for sure for a small fee.
Yeah, I was like, what are we
a nominal fee, probably for his pretentious food that
Where
he
are
likes.
you from? The interview switch. We're interviewing you now. Where are you from?
Oh, I'm being interviewed. I'm from England.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's cold as hell there. I was in London last year, and even with the thermal gear, couldn't do it.
No?
No, worse than the room that we're in right now.
I mean, I'd rather live in the UK where I can like breathe and like tan once or twice a year than this heat wall that is LA.
The free healthcare.
I miss wind.
I don't know if that's the thing. Do they have free healthcare?
I mean, is wind really worth giving a call
I can
back
handle
for?
heat if there's like a breeze, but this place is just static heat.
Yeah, but if you go to like top of the mountain, then you get like a good breeze.
Yeah.
At least it ain't humid.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true. I'd
gotta
rather.
hike
With
here.
humidity, Diana Ross.
Yeah, my hair does not handle humidity well, so I'm glad to be here.
The struggle bus.
Now, guys, we're supposed to be talking about
I know.
Gaymer
I
Guys.
know.
What do you want to
See,
talk
this is what
about?
happened. We get sidetracked. Go ahead.
First things first. Let's start at the top.
Okay.
Gaymer Guys, what is it? I mean, you guys are on a YouTube channel. You said tooted and we're going to toot and boot, and I didn't understand what that meant.
We'll
This is good.
educate
first of
him
all,
on
let's
Toot
back
and
up and
Boot.
say what Gaymer Guys
Yeah.
is.
Yes, okay.
So Gaymer Guys is the first ever professionally produced LGBT video game show, first and only that is out there. It's made by the same people that make RuPaul's Drag Race. So we are on their YouTube channel, which is predominantly drag queens, but then there's us. And every now and then there's a crossover. We'll have some famous queens from the show play video games with us, because sometimes that alone is a political commentary, but we talk a lot about diversity and representation in the video games, not just for the LGBT community, but for women, people of color, and just realistically wanting to see some more shades of color in terms of the stories that are being told.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely not like a news show or anything, but we definitely have like a lot of fun. We have a lot of witty banter back and forth. And the funny thing is, like a lot of shows, like you said before, it's the first professionally produced LGBT show, and it's just amazing and quite fascinating and quite humbling that we've lasted this long.
I mean,
we didn't think that they'd give us this long.
I was like, okay, they're gonna give us like 2 episodes and be like, thanks, here you go. Like, here's like a
But
t-shirt.
yeah, now we back on the gig.
Yeah. Here we
so
are.
our 3rd season is going to be coming out this Saturday.
Season 3.
Season 3,
My
yeah.
God. And so, I mean, I assume most of that was, you know.
I thought you were about to say that's so
bit of
Raven.
a joke, but you are a truly, you know, you're spearheading a whole new branch of what content to come. I mean, that's quite an honor.
I mean, I don't want to say, you know.
Yeah, let me stroke your ego a little bit.
I mean, spearheading. That's very generous of you. I mean,
No,
I get. I mean, we did look. It is nice, right, to have. I don't know. I feel like every time I always looked up gaming content online, it was just you didn't get to see the full breadth of the gaming community, and we wanted to kind of add to that because I never saw anyone that was like me or talked about the things that I wanted to talk about, and also go to video game studios and talk to the people that can make the actual change and being like, what's going on here? The last 5 games featured a white Caucasian guy who was to the same coin, a white Caucasian guy.
Yeah, and not a lot of women either in the game
Yeah,
too.
but
So
you
it's
know,
like, what's
people
up
that
with
aren't
that?
side characters. You know, I want to see more black women in video games and them being the heroes and the protagonists of that. I want to see, you know, we actually just ran into one of a friend of the show who is on this new season, Anjali Bhamani, who's
Symmetra in
Overwatch.
Oh, brilliant.
So she's on our new season coming up. One of our first episodes is with Kim Chi. She's a drag queen. Her name is Kim Chi.
Okay, so guilty pleasure of mine, RuPaul's Drag Race.
Really?
Yeah, dude, I can't get enough.
Okay, then we have to explain Toot and Boot to him.
You
then.
waited
queens
this
have you
long
had
to
on the-
say that when we
Which
just said that
queens
at the
have you
beginning?
had on the channel?
We were just on Trixie and Katya's show. They did a
Awesome.
gaming episode, so we did
Yeah.
like a little bit of a crossover.
We had Cameron Michaels on before.
You did?
Yes, Cameron's a
yes.
good friend of the show. She will probably be with. I don't know.
wait,
She might come next.
She might come
tomorrow,
around
yeah.
like next week or
Yeah?
something.
We'll
yeah.
see.
Sweet. And Trixie Mattel is as much fun as she is on the show?
We have. You know what?
She's full of one-liners, so like you got to keep up with her.
Oh,
Yeah.
my favorite is I walked in and I was like, Katya's makeup is different. She looks kind of like a woman in this lighting. And Trixie's like, no, you know what? And she looks like a woman, and she turns off the light. I was like, yeet. Shady.
Yikes.
But no, we have to explain Toot and Boot to him. He should know.
Okay, so are you familiar with the show Fashion Photo Review?
Fashion corporate
photo review.
So it's
a YouTube
on
show. Right.
our channel.
Okay, no, talk me.
And
So
it's
it's
a
a different
couple
show
of
on our
drag
channel.
queens, usually from obviously RuPaul's Drag Race, and they take looks from like previous episodes of the show, and they give it a toot, whether we like it, or a boot
or
if we
you
think it's
boot
trash.
it if you don't like
Toot
it. Be like,
or
yeah, you get a
boot?
boot.
Like
Okay.
your outfit is a toot.
I'm tooting.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
can't
yeah.
go wrong with the gays love all black. It's
Yeah,
slimming.
it's
so
very
slimming.
slimming.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Very slimming.
Yeesh, I love it. Fire on the stage.
And racism. Rears its ugly head
You
yet
better
again.
stop. You better stop.
These are the first shoes I put in. Oh no. I put in bags when I'm traveling.
Do you really?
I'm very proud of myself.
I mean, I will say I like the
That
shoes.
means she spent a
We
pretty coin
approve.
on them shoes.
I probably should have. No, these are just like the first fancy shoe I felt like looking after.
Oh.
Yeah.
They got money over here. Speaking
Yeah.
of which, sponsored by Ashley Furniture. This couch, I don't
You
even know.
clearly do not have
Turn
money
it
with
off.
these pants.
He's in YouTube mode, but not just YouTube, because I podcast on the horizon as well. Is that something we can talk about?
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily a podcast, but we're going to be streaming more this season. You know, so
Okay.
we do have a Twitch channel that is twitch.com/GaymerGuysTV. So we're going to do a little bit more regarding each week. You know, when our episodes come out weekly, we're going to do something that's a little bit more topical with whatever it is that we talked about that week, and we'll play it on Twitch.
Right, because
Okay.
we can actually on Twitch, obviously, we can go into more details as opposed to like on Gaymer Guys, we have to kind of keep it limited.
Yeah, you know, you don't get to see everything and
Yeah.
and whatnot because it all gets edited and stuff. And
Yeah.
but we do talk a lot more about a lot. We're more politically charged this coming season, I would say, right? That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the reason behind that is like the world around us is changing for better or worse, depending on who you are. So it's like we have to change how we see the world.
I know, personally, I'm really proud about our Riot episode. So we did
Yes.
an episode at Riot Games, and they've never done
Which she
anything
works
like
there.
yeah. Full
She works
disclaimer,
there.
I actually work at Riot Games, so that's probably why I'm just pushy. I'm just like, let's do it. But they've never done anything like having our show come on and do what we've done before.
Yeah.
So we went in and just kind of experienced the campus and got to learn more about their process in designing champions and really just kind of talked also about, you know, the turmoil that the company underwent last year.
They were in the news. I saw it.
Right, and that's not the focus of the episode, but we
No.
couldn't go there and talk about diversity in video games and not talk about the elephant in the room. So, you know, it's the first time that they've talked about that on camera, but we, you know, more so wanted to, you know, talk about like what we were saying, champion design, and how we're going to start seeing more people like Varus and more people like, you know, a Tracer in Overwatch or Teemo, you know, if these are all League of Legends champions, if you know. So just trying to see, again, a more representation of video games.
A
Because,
little more inclusion.
well,
you know?
that game has 144 or 145 champions in that game, and there are 17 people of color.
Yeah, not even 20.
I'm with you. Right.
You know, not all are humans, but even still, I think there's like
But even to the-
67 are
even to
humans,
that degree,
give or
it's
take a
like-
couple, and
Right,
only
right, right.
17 are people of color. That's, you know, room for improvement.
Okay, can I ask a really naive question?
Please
Sure.
Why? Why is that? Like, why has that happened? Why? Like, I don't imagine that's coming from a negatively charged reason. Is it just naivety?
Well,
is
I'll
it
tell you
people just
why.
they want to design a character and that's where their mind goes? I mean,
I don't think there's like an inherent bias behind it, but I think when, and I could just, maybe I'm just speaking for myself here, but I
Yeah.
think when video game developers are making these sort of like hyperbolic characters and whatnot, they sort of make them through the scope of what they know.
Yeah,
So
and
if you don't
that-
know anything outside of that, then
that's where your mind's gonna. That's where your
You're
creativity's gonna go.
Right.
Well, that exact question comes up on the episode that we do. We have this whole town hall where we interview 6 people across Riot and post questions that anyone can answer, and they're all different. There's a lead champion designer. There's like all these different people, and we get to ask them kind of exactly that. And you know, the short answer is that, you know, back in the day with League of Legends, they were having a champion come out every 2 weeks. So now it takes 9 months, and they can do something
Whoa,
that's above,
okay.
but
Yeah.
that's more nuanced. So back then, when you're cranking them out every 2 weeks, you kind of go to the stuff you know.
Yeah.
And realistically, and this is kind of indicative across the industry, not just Riot, you know, there's
Right.
a lot of, it's not a very diverse group of people in the workplace and whatnot. That's changing, and it's
Yeah.
getting a lot better.
Right.
But traditionally, video game studios and tech companies are predominantly Caucasian people. So that's what, you know, it's not that they don't want more diverse people in the video games, but it's like they don't want to get it wrong.
And again, not as many
know,
women.
I'm with you.
It's like, what's up with that?
Yeah.
You know? It's like not as many women.
well, actually, I think with League, they're actually surprisingly like a 50-50 split.
Yeah, they're doing better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just released a bright pink cat. So
Oh, Yumi. Yeah, Yumi. Yeah, the
I
magical
pay attention.
cat. Yeah, that came out. See, I'm excited that everybody gets to start seeing the champions
Right.
because, you know, having access to privileged information. I know like all the champions that are, you know, in line to come out. So this is gonna be it's gonna be a fun year.
And so I'd love to hear your perspective on the inclusion of more diverse characters in gaming, because I do feel like that over the course of let me think. I mean, starting with, in my mind, I want to say Overwatch. I feel like Overwatch is like, that was a big backbone of that game was, you know, they were trying to show the plethora of different types of humans and all of the types of humans that would be playing their game.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that there is a wave starting to rise? People are starting to be more inclusive with their game creation, or is it still a conversation that has to happen more often?
I mean, we all want to see ourselves in the world, right? Especially the world that we like love and want to be a part of. So I think historically when you see all these characters and they don't look anything like you, or their backstories are something you can't quite relate to, it's like, where do I fit in? I love this art form, but like, I don't really see a place for me. But like, obviously, throughout the board of like a lot of video game companies, you see that a lot of different people work at a lot of different companies, and they would just like to see themselves represented in these games. And I think to some degree, some people might think it's pandering when, you know, games like to make it inclusive and whatnot. But like, recently, I think it was when we were at Riot, someone's like, well, think about the people who actually work there, and they want to feel safe and included and whatnot. So it's like, I get it. So they actually kind of changed my mind on that. So
and I recently kind of came across. It was when Black Panther came out, and
Right.
there was all this news about, like, you know, black kids for the first time being able to dress up as a superhero that they look like.
I
And I'm
had this
sitting there and
exact moment yesterday.
it was a revelation for me because
Right.
I've never lived in that. I've always kind of had characters or idols that I can look like
Right.
and embody very quickly and easily, and I hadn't even considered it.
Yeah.
It's so
my
foolish
my
of me.
friends took their son from Tanzania. They've now adopted him. He lives here. We took him to go see Black Panther. So it was like really cool to see someone who, you know, obviously Wakanda's not real, but like from that sort of area, see himself on screen and like be celebrated. Like I was like, that's just so cool.
Kick-ass saving the world.
That's
That's
the
a little
point.
byproduct.
With style.
I saw yesterday, I forget, I don't know the character's name in the game, but it was an Apex Legends character, the black woman.
Yes, Lifeline.
And there was someone that cosplayed as her, and she looked so much like her, and
Yes,
it was just
was
like,
so good.
how awesome is it that she
Right.
was able to, she didn't have to like cosplay as like, you know, a white character because that's all that's available. Someone that
Right.
she looks like and is like really integral to that game, and I just think
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something that is, you know, that's something that I think that revelation we're talking about.
Right.
I'm sure I would fully support something like gamers who are trying to raise awareness and force more of those epiphanies upon people.
Yeah.
I mean, because it
We're
isn't
starting
something you
to
think
see
about.
it.
You are?
know, well, you look at someone like Ellie in The Last of Us, right? Like
I knew you
the
were going there.
PlayStation conference opened with her kissing her girlfriend. Now, I do think that there is a little bit of a split in terms of we are luckily starting to, first off, representation for anyone. It's like kind of all, you know, the water rises for everybody kind of situation. But we are a little bit behind on seeing gay men being represented. You know, I think lesbian women we're starting to see more of, but it's still kind of stuck in that fetish space of like two women are
like
hot.
almost
You know, you don't see the
pornographic.
same love with two men.
Right,
And,
right.
you know, so yeah, it's kind of like that fetish place. But, I mean, if that's how we can get our foot on the door, sure, I guess.
Slide a resume under the door real quick.
You know what I mean? But there's work that needs to be done. And I'm glad that it's finally we're starting to see that. I mean, but you're also seeing more women in lead roles too, right? You know, like
Gears of War?
Wolfenstein, the DLC that they're
Battlefield,
doing.
it's
Yeah, and it's not like they're in sexy, you know, outfits and stuff. Don't get me wrong. I turn out for the McCree skin in Overwatch, you know, where he's at the beach.
Yeah, I mean, kind of to that point of what you were about to say, to piggyback off that, it's like, can we stop making these cheap stereotypes in video games? Like, isn't it like a little played out?
Like who? Call them out. They're probably here. No, we
you
need
know what I mean?
sponsors.
Like, let's just make these people, I don't know, people.
Yeah, God forbid.
Yeah.
So the stereotyping, I mean, that's an interesting kind of, I hadn't even considered that even when there is representation, there can be a negative connotation to the representation.
We've talked about on the show, usually black men in like video games got hair like mine, or like what, a fro?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And then they're like
isn't
kind
that-
of, and
is
then
that
they're
not
kind of brutish.
representation?
They're usually kind of brutish.
Well,
And, like,
it
kind
is
of
representation, but here's the problem, and
hyper-masculine.
the distinguishing problem is there's nothing wrong with that. There is something when that's all that's there.
That's all you're putting out there. It's just
Do you know
like,
what I mean?
Okay.
And that is predominantly what you're going to see more often than not. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And for instance, I was probably going to bring this game up, Watch Dogs 2. I was Watch Dogs 2.
Oh, okay.
Ubisoft ain't going to invite us to their press conference. I shit on them on every occasion.
I saw Grandma beating people up with a motorcycle.
No,
helmet. Is
not
that
that's
one?
3. No, I
That's the
turned up for
third
that
one.
one. Yetta
Yeah.
Bernstein.
Yetta Bernstein walk across that street. She's
We're
like, no
like,
one's
"Yes,
gonna look
Yetta."
at me. Then she's like, drone.
No, but I remember when they first announced that, and they were kind of giving an expose or an explanation of I think his name is CJ. I forget the name of the character.
Yeah.
But you know, and they're like, his family was from Oakland, which is not a great area in California, by the San Francisco. And I'm just like, of course his family's from the ghetto. I was like, God
Right.
forbid his family is like, you know, functional. And, you know,
Silicon
he comes from
Valley.
like a nice place, you know. It's
Right.
like those little things that it's just like,
It's like, okay.
It holds a lot of influence, doesn't it? People's, not perception, but, you know, that's, if they're playing these games and it's all they see, then perception is
That's
part of it.
all you're going to
again,
think.
and there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. It's like, okay, first off, I'm happy that they featured a person of color on their box art and then
Hell
their
yeah.
character, and you
Yeah.
know, who is not just so one-dimensional. But it's just like when you see those little things, and like I was saying, when that's all that exists,
Right,
you
that's
know,
the
we're
problem,
not.
the problem.
And that's part of like the entertainment industry. I mean, we talked about that on one episode. Like,
Yeah.
you have to go back to the past and see all these like racist stereotypes of like all sorts of people of color. So like, if that's ingrained in your mind, then that's all you're gonna think of them. So like, I think the video game industry is like the last industry to catch up to a lot of it. I think movies and TV have gotten a little bit better
Okay.
with it,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think video games they're starting to do better. But like,
I mean,
they're-
can you name any games that feature a gay male character as the protagonist? And
Like-
that's canonical. It's not Mass Effect where you
yeah,
choose
not
that.
the Ballad of Gay Tony.
Yeah, certainly not something off the top of my head, no.
Yeah.
There
Because
you go.
it-
I mean, I think that's the perfect way for us to kind of
Yeah.
summarize what gamers are pursuing. And so everyone's interested in learn more about you, how do they find you again?
You can literally find us on
Yeah.
YouTube. It's Gaymer Guys, GAYMER,
Spelled like the shirt.
because we're clever.
Gamer. You see what they did there?
Yeah.
Because games
Uh-huh.
Yep.
and gay.
Yeah, see what we did
Put them
there?
together.
I mean, I'm just saying, E3 is in the month of June, which is Pride Month, so
Right.
video games pretty much
Yeah.
belong
and
to us
and then
anyway.
there's pride flags absolutely everywhere.
Pride
So,
was
yeah.
last Sunday. My feet still hurt.
fantastic.
They do.
I still have glitter.
Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. We have run out of
you.
time, but that's how you find them. GAYMERS gamers, dank memes, and a whole lot of politics, a whole lot of drag queens, and a whole lot of video gaming, and that's all can be found in one roof with these two. So that's all we've got time for. We're going to go ahead and take a break, but we'll be back with so much more as this day continues.
Don't.